Alrighty. So let's talk about the Batman. So people been hitting me up like, you need to review the Batman. You need to review the Batman. Like, first of all, you don't know what's going on in my life. So how about you let relax. I'll get to it when I get to it. Um and then it's like you see me review one thing. I'll get to it when I get to it. Um and here I'm getting to it right now. So watching this as of right now, my review for it is a 7 out of 10. Now, before anyone wants to jump down my neck, I have my reasons. It's not a low 7 too. It's like a 7.9. Like, okay. And the reason it's a 7 is because the pacing, the length, and it kind of lost itself in the story because at first it's the Riddler, and you're trying to find out what his riddles are and what's the meaning to the deaths. Then we get a story with Falcone. Then we get the story with Falcone and the history with Bruce. Then we get the story with Falcone and his little not relationship, but his little history with Catwoman. And it gets too convoluted. Of course, you know the story if you read Batman Long Halloween, which that doesn't make it better that the film came out last year, the animated film, and this came out. I was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit too much. But I mean, certain things, elements they used, but they could have just done it their own way. Um, and then it's just I don't know. Before I get even into the film, the acting was good, and I will talk about to everybody each acting later. But it just, and then it was so much, and then the history with the Waynes and why certain character hate the Waynes, um, of why they're one of Gotham's elites and they're running the corruption. And it was so much. It was like it's too much going on. Where I'm trying to keep up with Batman and his detective work, which I do need to touch upon. Batman do not go to crime scene when people are there. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but that wasn't good. Do I like the fact that we get more Batman in this film? Yes. Do I like the fact that Bruce Wayne doesn't really know how to be Batman in this film, like in other films? Yes. Do I like the fact that Batman is so filled with vengeance that he just doesn't care about hurting people? Yes. I just don't like the fact that there's no, as of this film, there's no difference between Bruce and Batman right now because they're still the same character. Like I look at Bruce Wayne and say, "You're Batman." Where I look in the Batman Begins saga, you can look at him like, I don't see you, Batman. If you keep up with Christian Bale as an actor, you'll say, "Yeah, he's Batman." But as a film wise, you can't tell because he's doing some stupid shit. He's always doing stupid stuff. And even in Michael Keaton's film, you couldn't really tell. You know, but again, this is an earlier version of Batman, so he's still playing around with that. You know, I didn't like the fact that his identity was kind of revealed by certain one of the characters, which I think that's kind of early. They could have kept that a secret, but again, it goes for the fact of the way Bruce Wayne acts and Batman acts. They act the same way, so you kind of can put it together. So it's like, well, what do you think? Um, but let's get into the acting. Robert Pattinson, great as Batman. I think he's one of my favorite Batmans. Is he better than Ben Affleck's Batman? Not really, but I like his portrayal as Batman better than Ben Affleck's. Is it better than Kristen Bell's Batman? Absolutely. I don't wear hockey masks. I do miss that though. I was looking for that voice a little bit. Then you got Paul De Nano, I believe, as Riddler. Love him as Riddler. I think he's one of the best Riddler. Is he better than Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey's great at what he does. So no. And I still honestly, if you Val Kilmer, say what you want about Batman Forever, is the best Bruce Wayne we got. Batman, not so much, but Bruce Wayne killed it. I love him as Bruce Wayne. Zoe Kravitz as who was that? As Catwoman. Not good, bro. No, I'm kidding. She was actually pretty good. Not like my favorite. Like if I had to choose between the Catwoman we got, the Catwoman from Batman Return, Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe. I think Michelle Catwoman. Holly Berries. Yes, we'll put Holly Berries in there. I don't care what nobody says. And then Anne Hathaway. So I put those four in order. Michelle, then Zoe, then then Halle Berry. No, then halfway then Catwoman. Now, this is the actresses' performances. Their costume will go to Halle Berry Catwoman 2004, but that's for another different story. um, Ladies and gentlemen, but she did good. She did good. The MVP of this whole film, though, Colin Farrell as Penguin. I see why he's getting his own series. This man was fantastic. He had me laughing at scenes where I was not supposed to laugh. He was funny. He was good. He captivated me. He looked like the Penguin. If you didn't tell me that was Colin Farrell, I wouldn't believe it. Like I heard he was on set, and I looked at the pictures. I was online, so I looked at him. I was a good guy. Like I couldn't recognize him, but I knew that was Colin Farrell. And I've noticed, like I've heard him for so many years growing up watching his films. You hear his voice, and that's Colin Farrell, but you couldn't really expect that from it. It's like Robert Downey Jr. as a black man in Tropic Thunder. If you didn't know who Robert Downey Jr. was at that time, you wouldn't think he was white. You would think he was black. And that's good. I mean, Colin Farrell might actually get nominated for an Oscar for a supporting role because, like, I couldn't really tell that was him until he started speaking. Even when he spoke, you couldn't tell, But I knew it was him because of the suits. Um, but I mean, he owns the film, and no wonder he's in a series. The guy's fucking fantastic. I mean, the scenes with him and Patterson were better than the scenes with him and Riddler. We got to talk about the deleted scene too with the Joker. The Joker looks very disturbing in here. Like honestly, like out of any Joker we've seen, this is probably the most disturbing one, and I think that's probably good because they're really making sure you don't like this Joker. Like Matt Reeves is making you know, like you will not like this man. You won't like, you like Heath Ledger Joker, cool. You like Joaquin Phoenix Joker, cool. Those are cool Jokers. You like the Gotham version Joker? Cool. But you're not gonna like this one. Not the way he looks, not the way he talks. Like I don't like the character, which is a good thing. And that's what you're supposed to do, because he comes off like loony as a bat. And I'm not no pun intended. Um, but he comes off very loony. And it's like not the cool loony, but the disturbing loony, the loony you don't want to be around in an alley because you don't know what you're going to get. And that's what I like. And that scene alone was taken out for film comments as hell. They could have took that whole middle scene with Bruce Wayne's history, family history, and his mother and Arkham and all that stuff. And added that scene, I would have been fine with that. But I mean, other than that, it was good. But the film's biggest problem is the length. I think, as a theater wise, it's not a good experience because you sit in the theater, you're bored. Some people say I wasn't bored. I was like I was bored because it was too long. Like there's scenes and then when I talked to somebody else who wasn't bored, you talk about the scene, they were like, yeah, that did drag out. If a person's now you telling that person and they now looking back at it like, yeah, that's a problem. You know, I mean, will I rewatch the film down the road again? Absolutely. But at my own home leisure, so when I paused, I could go to the damn bathroom. Like I didn't want to go to the bathroom because you miss anything. Because Matt Reeves is very good with key details. Like if you miss something, like even for a good 5 or 10 minutes, you don't miss probably half the thing. You have to have someone tell you what's going on. If that person's asleep, then you're screwed. I went with two of my buddies, which I'm glad I did because if I didn't, I probably would have been knocked out. There was one film I think I went and saw. It was Skyfall with Daniel Craig. I was knocked the fuck out. I was so knocked the fuck out. But and it's funny. I went to see Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Knocked the fuck out. And I was like, it must be Daniel Craig. His voice is so good. And the person behind me was mad because I could tell I was snoring the fuck on. But I was up all day because I wanted to see the film. But the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. The funny thing about that, I'll give you a tidbit. I woke up for that one when they were doing a sex scene. I couldn't get it by the fuck up. Oh man. But the Skyfall, I woke up somewhere. I don't even know where I woke up at, and I was gone. I would just say this was the worst film. But I rewatched it again, and I thought it was okay, just at my own leisure. Certain films like this. This film, I didn't fall asleep because I had my buddies there, which was good. But I told myself again I would never do that again and put myself in that predicament again because I don't like that and stuff like that. But So, but that's about it. I think I talked about 10 minutes enough. But here's my Batman review. Long. I talk about the film. My film was long. This is probably my longest film, my longest video I've done in a minute. But I had a lot to say. It's not a bad film, but I do recommend it to watch it at home if you're not that type of person who wants to sit in the theaters for 3 hours, which is a 3 hour film. Is it the longest Batman film? It is. Now, since I'm here, I will talk about these films in order. Um, I won't compare Pattinson's Batman film yet because he needs more structure. I mean, more films for that. And I won't do that. Now you probably say, well, you can't compare Zoe Kravitz. Funny thing, I can because Michelle only had one film, and Hathaway only had one film, and Catwoman only had one film. So I could compare those characters. That's fine. Um, Penguin, I can't compare Penguin. Well, I could compare Penguin, but I'll wait till the TV show. But for Batman, no, not yet. I mean, Patterson needs at least another film. Then I can compare them, especially with you know. Now, film wise, I can compare. All right, so number one for me will be The Dark Knight. Number two will be Batman, the 1989. Number three, Batman Begins. Number four will be Batman, and number five would be Batman Returns, and then The Dark Knight Rises. Now I'm only comparing these films. I'm not comparing the gooder films. I'm not comparing the Batman and Robin and those that they already at the bottom, but those films. Um, which is I'm saying Batman Returns was good, but there's some points I really didn't like it. This one here though I did enjoy it a little bit more. Um, but it's like neck and neck with Batman Returns, which is funny. They got two of the characters from Batman Returns in here, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, that's my review of it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The Batman will be on HBO Max in about 2 weeks, and check it out. It's already made $700 million, so it did pretty good in the box office. It's not no damn Spider-Man numbers, but I mean, it is what it is. I think that's going to help it too. It's already green light for a sequel, so and I will talk about that in a separate video. Should the Batman be made? Should the Batman have his own DCU universe per se? We'll talk about that in a separate video. But as always, like, subscribe, peace, have a Johnson dance. See you guys in the next video.